Okay guys, we've been through the clavicle and the humerus and the scapula already. So now we're just gonna keep moving down the arm, and we're gonna be doing the radius, the ulna, and then the bones of the wrist and the hand in this video, okay? There is an assignment on Schoology that deals with some questions about these bones, so make sure you complete that for me, okay? I'm just gonna go down your list. I've got my list here so I don't skip anything this time. So looking at the radius, we're gonna review the radial head again. We did that in class the other day, but we had a couple people who weren't there, so this should be just a review, okay? So I'm gonna shake my patient's hand, and I'm gonna put my hand just right under their forearm. If I lay my thumb right across this lower part of the arm, you can actually feel a bone down here. My thumb is gonna be right against the radius, okay? Now, if I supinate and pronate my patient's hand, I can actually feel the radius rolling over the ulna, okay? And you're gonna feel it's like a wheel turning right under your finger. If you find that difficult to appreciate and really feel, another way you can do it with your patient's arm bent is feel down the humerus. So right there is his lateral epicondyle. And then there is just a tiny little space right here. And then the next bone I feel is gonna be the head of the radius. Okay, so some people just like feeling for that little space. It's smaller than the width of your fingertip. So it's a very, very small joint space, but it is there and you can feel bone, space, bone, okay? But a nice double check is just to supinate and pronate and feel for the movement under your thumb, okay? And I'm gonna have my patient just put their hand right here. And if your patient bends their wrist back, bend your wrist back for me. Oh, you're too young to have lines. I have lines. If I bend my hand back, you see these lines right here? That's called your extensor crease, okay? If I turn my hand this way and I flex, this is called my flexor crease, okay? So your carpal bones start right where those creases are, okay? So just distal to those creases are where you'll find your carpal bones. So your carpal bones are actually right here, a little bit past where you wear a watch, and then right here at the very base of your hand. This is actually where your wrist is. It's not back here, okay? So what I'm gonna feel right at where that crease would be, just proximal to it, right where I would put a watch on, if I press in on either side of the wrist and I push back towards the elbow, what I'm running into are on the thumb side, the styloid process of the radius, and on the pinky side, the styloid process of the ulna, okay? Remember that the ulna is always on the pinky side and the radius is always on the thumb side, okay? So if I wanted to find styloid process of the radius by itself, I would just push in right here, right where a watch would sit, and then press up like that towards the elbow, and I'm pressing into the styloid process of the radius. If I wanted to do the ulna, I would press in right here. There's a little bit more give here, and press up, and I'm gonna be hitting the styloid process of the ulna. Now, a lot of you asked me, because I said these two bumps on the back of your wrist are not the styloid processes, and then you said, well, what are they? And I said, well, you don't have to know that. But if you wanna know, this one on the radial side, this is called Lister's tubercle. Lister apostrophe S. And then this is actually what we call the head of the ulna. Because remember up here at the elbow, that was the olecranon process. That wasn't the head. The head is actually this part. You don't have to know that, but just because people were asking, that's what those are called. Okay, so that finishes up ulna and radius. So now we have to go into the carpal bones. We're gonna do the super easy ones first, because why not start easy? Okay, patient, if you'll turn your hand up like this. Cool, okay. So right below the flexor crease, these little lines that get formed, if we go just distal to that flexor crease, On the pinky side, the ulnar side of the hand, you feel this little pebble, and it's pretty obvious in most people. That is the pisiform, okay? Now, from the pisiform, if I go diagonally towards the index finger, okay, just not even a fingertip width, but just diagonal, and start doing little circles, I'm gonna feel something kind of sticking up, something that feels just a little bit different. That is the hook of the hamate. So that would be how you palpate the hamate bone, okay? Do not leave, relax your hand for me, this fleshy part, and mine's fleshier. This fleshy part of your hand is called the Hypothenar Eminen. You don't wanna leave that part, okay? If you squinch up your hand and you see kind of a mass here and a mass here, don't leave this mass of tissue. Okay, if you're here into the middle of the palm, you've gone too far. Okay, pisiform is here, and hook of the hamate is just not even a finger width diagonal to it. Okay, so let's go to the back side of the hand. We're going to do 2 more real easy ones. If we follow the middle finger down, you fall into a well. You fall into this hole right here. If I push down into that well, I'm pushing down on the capitate bone. Okay, so right now my finger is right on top of the capitate. If I stay in that well but just push backward towards the wrist, I'm pushing into the lunate. Okay, so capitate is straight down the bottom of the well, and the lunate forms kind of the back wall of the well. Okay, so that's all I would want to see on a skill check, is pushing down or pushing back. Right at the base of that 3rd metacarpal, okay? You can cross out trapezoid. We're not gonna find the trapezoid. We're not gonna find the triquetrum because no one ever hurts those. They're not really clinically relevant, okay? But we are gonna find the scaphoid. And you might have heard of something called the Anatomical Snuffbox. If I ask my patient, can you bring your thumb back as far as you can? See these 2 tendons right here, okay? The space right between those, that's called the Anatomical Snuffbox, okay? I don't have a good one. My hands are so dry. When I bring my thumb back, I can feel it, but I can't see it, okay? But on my patient here, you can see it really well. So go ahead and relax your hand. If I find the radial tuberosity, okay, and now bring your thumb back, and I come up just distal to the radial tuberosity, right at the base of that anatomical snuff box, relax, I'm on the scaphoid. Now, a double check for that is I will ulnarly deviate my patient, and I'm gonna feel this bone kind of pop out into my finger, and if I radially deviate, it disappears. If I ulnarly deviate, it pops out. If I radially deviate, it feels like it disappears, okay? That's one great way to know I am definitely on the scaphoid, okay? The only, how's our light? Is it okay? Yeah. Okay. The only other bone we're gonna do, I'm gonna put my finger here for the scaphoid, is the trapezium. Trapezium is by the thumb. Trapezium articulates with this 1st metacarpal right here. So if I extend my patient's 1st metacarpal, I can see where it ends. Zoop, right there, that's the end of it. Okay, so if this is the end of my metacarpal and this is my scaphoid, right between my 2 fingers, that's the trapezium. Okay, so that's the easiest way to do it. Have to find the scaphoid first. Okay, stick your thumb back for me. Scaphoid is gonna be right here at the base. Thank you. Okay, now I can passively extend the thumb. There's the base of my 1st metacarpal right here. So right between my 2 fingers, I'm on the trapezium. Okay, looking at the hand, remember these bones right here are the metacarpals, and then we go into phalanges. So metacarpals, our bases are down here. Our heads are here. If you make a fist, these are the heads of your metacarpals, okay? If you have the fingers out, we have proximal phalange, distal phalange, proximal phalange, middle phalange, distal phalange of digit 2, proximal phalange, middle phalange, distal phalange of, yeah, I said distal phalange of digit 3, and so on and so forth. So if I asked you to identify these, the knuckles are the heads of the distal bone. So base, shaft, head of the first, 1, 2, 3, of the third proximal phalange. Base, shaft, head of the third middle phalange, and then base, shaft, head of the third distal phalange. So just the same way we named them on the skeleton, you name them on the hands. Okay, let me know if you have any questions and do your assignment. And tomorrow we'll have a new video. Thanks.